The Aimless Bullet, also known as the Stray Bullet, or under its original Korean title Obaltan. I've never heard about this film until a few days ago, where I stumbled upon its name mentioned in a movie thread somewhere on the internet as arguably the greatest Korean film ever made. Naturally, I had to go and check it out. Fortunately, it was relatively easy to do so, even though the movie was never, as far as I can tell, released officially in most countries outside of Korea, because the restored version of the film is available for free on YouTube on one of the Korean Movie Institute channels, along with subtitles in multiple languages. So, The Aimless Bullet is actually far less exciting than the title may suggest, because it is a rather slow burning drama about the Korean society in the post war reality of the early 1960s. The story focuses on several characters. Two of them are veteran soldiers, veterans of the Korean War, trying to readjust to life outside of the army. And one is an accountant who's struggling to support his family along with his sick mother. The one thing that they all have in common, apart from knowing each other, is that permeating feeling of hopelessness, a lack of perspectives, and that pretty awful financial situation that they find themselves in. The movie paints a very vivid picture of a country ravaged by war that is trying desperately to somehow rise from the rubble, but is struggling to do so. There's no work, there's no money, there's no opportunities. It's pretty goddamn bleak. And so we watch these characters try to navigate that landscape, each with their individual set of personal problems and desires. And we see their individual reactions to the everyday struggle. We see how long it takes for each of them to break under that constant, never ending stress. So I think in that respect, in painting that picture of a very specific place and time in history, the film is very good. I'm not that familiar myself with the story of the Korean War, and certainly even less so with the aftermath. So this to me was a great glimpse into that period. It's very interesting in that regard. I think the characters are well written and different enough that it makes sense to follow all of them. I also think that amidst all of this bleakness, there are several glimpses of optimism, of happiness. In fact, one of my favorite scenes of the entire film is one of those. One of the soldiers runs into a nurse that he met during his time in the army, and they both go together to her apartment, to which they have to climb this tall fire escape and then get to the roof apartment. It's such a light-hearted scene that breathes so much life into this story. And what's amazing is that it never pretends that the bad stuff is suddenly over. We're constantly aware of the despair waiting just outside. But for this moment, for this one fleeting while, nothing else matters for these two except themselves and their clear interest in one another. I think the filmmakers cleverly use those moments like this one, of respite, to further drive the point home that there is very little hope for these people, that the poverty in which they live in will not just magically go away, and they're sort of imprisoned in this ravaged country in their lives. Final point, I loved how the ending of the film uses something established earlier on, multiple times in the film, in fact, to really make you realize how, what the characters are going through, how bad it is. It's an ending that is at the same time depressing and poetic. So it is a slow black and white film without a tight plot or action. But if you do enjoy classic cinema and these character focused, slow burning dramas, The Aimless Bullet is for you.